What's up, everybody? This is episode 17, Vicious Breakdown. Tonight, we're diving into everything heating up across the sports world, starting with the latest participants announced for the men's and women's Elimination Chamber match in Chicago. The road to WrestleMania is getting real, and the field is stacking up real fast. We're also getting major reactions from this week's storyline shifting, momentum changing, some superstars making serious statements. The NBA, we're talking about the format of the All-Star, why the tournament experiment isn't hitting the same, and why it might be time to bring back the classic East versus West showdown that fans actually love. Plus our Black History Month spotlight, our Vicious Breakdown, and the elephant in the room continues as we highlight another impactful Black athlete who changes the game both on and off the court. All that and more, hot takes, real reactions, unfiltered sports talk coming your way right now on Vicious Breakdown. So let's get into it and break it down. Let's start off with Monday Night Raw from this last Monday. Well, AJ Lee challenged Becky Lynch. Well, actually, she just goaded her into it. She was like, hey, we should put the title on the line. For the Intercontinental title match was set in Chicago at Elimination Chamber. Finn Balor was in the backstage and looking all distraught, like people were passing him by, not giving him the respect that he deserves. So he went out there and goaded CM Punk into an Elimination Chamber title match. Smart move to blow off this feud before Roman comes back every single week to lead to the road to WrestleMania, which is set to happen after the Chamber. So obviously Finn Balor's not going to win. Obviously they want Roman Punk Mania. That's the biggest marquee match they can have, and Finn Balor's just the odd man out. And the Rhea and LA Knight both advance in the women's and men's accordingly. So LA Knight's in the men's chamber, and then Rhea Ripley is also in the chamber. And then Liv Morgan still hasn't picked who she's going to face. So with Liv, my guess, my personal opinion, she's going after Stephanie Vaquer for the women's title. And they're just dragging her feet to make more drama because I don't see her facing Jade. I really think Bianca's coming back sooner rather than later to face her and take her title at WrestleMania. But we'll get to that when we talk about SmackDown. They also had a Natty versus Maxine match. Natty brutalized her, tried to rip her leg off, beat her with it or whatever the heck she was trying to do, but got chased off by AJ Lee because AJ Lee said the only reason she's here is to root on Maxine Dupree or whatever. So they helping her to the back, and lo and behold, Becky Lynch jumps her from behind. So that match was only used to progress the story. So what was the point? Sports entertain? Not so much. But what sports entertain me, though, who's a real El Grande Americano? I can't wait. I hope it's mask versus mask. And if you don't like that, then you don't like entertainment. So at me, Oos, because that's entertaining. I love it. Because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm assuming the original one is going to stand tall and veil there's Ludwig Kaiser as the second El Grande Americano. But here's a little tangent about WWE's current state. I just don't get why the baby faces in WWE. You get jumped, you lose your title by a heel, and then when they have their match or their fight, they just want to have a wrestling match. No. If someone costs me that match or costs me a title, I'm going at him. I'm going fisticuffs. The ref's going to have to rip me off of the guy. I'm just saying, because it's just dumb. Cody did it with Jacob, and now Maxine's doing it with Becky Lynch, where she's just trying to, or with Natalya, and just having a little match. And no, Maxine, you should be angry that your coach, your friend, stabbed you in the back. So I'm coming for you. I don't care about the 1, 2, 3. I care about ripping your face off. I'm talking about ripping your limbs off and beating you with it. But I guess that's just me. So let's talk SmackDown. They had here's another tangent, I guess. So the tag team titles the women's tag team titles are just a waste of time. Just give it to the Bella Twins and have them retire it or whatever and just get rid of it because it's a waste of talent. There's no stories ever really interesting coming out of any of those matches. It's just two teams facing for the title. They lose. The champions win. The champions lose. It don't matter. It honestly is just a waste. And they also wasting my time instead of having a U.S. Open Challenge. They decided let's just have the MFTs, all of them, versus a whole bunch of baby faces that ain't doing nothing in the back. You had Carmelo Hayes, you had Ilya Dragunov, you had Matt Cardona, you had Apollo Crews, which I didn't even know he was still with the company, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So whatever. Get everybody on the show. Sure. Whatever. And then Alexa Bliss advanced in her chamber match, and it's probably going to have Charlotte in it too. Moving on to the men's. Cody Rhodes advanced thanks to Drew trying to stop him from advancing because, you don't want that smoke or whatever. I still think it's going to be a triple threat or a fatal four-way at Mania. I feel Jacob Fatu not being in Mania is a war crime. And maybe Orton, so it'll be Cody, Drew, Orton, and Fatu in a fatal four-way for the WWE Undisputed Championship. But on a side note, Trick Williams is a gift, and he keeps getting better week after week after week. Like, he knows what his character is. He knows how to wrestle. He knows how to talk. And if you don't like him, he gonna hit you with them lemon pepper steppers. You know what I'm saying? Because Whoop That Trick is vibing throughout the arena. When he comes out with his mink on, like, he's looking like a wrestler. Like, if he walks in the room, that's what was missing from a lot of wrestlers. When they walk in the room, they don't demand the respect or the imagery of being a professional wrestler. They just think he's some dude. But more negative. Get that title, that women's title, off of Jade Cargill, like today or yesterday or tomorrow or whenever. Unless Bianca's coming back to take that title at Mania, she does not need to be in a main event at WrestleMania stinking up the joint. I thought Jordynne Grace was going to win the title, but no. And Jade just wins and barely defends it. She's just not. It's not it. Like, she's better at chasing than she is holding the title, clearly. So, as Becky Lynch would say, she is not ready for the big time. Well, at least right now. But I think they need to. That experiment is over. 86 that. So far for the men's Elimination Chamber match, you got Randy Orton, LA Knight, yeah, and you got Cody Rhodes. And in the women's, you got Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, and Rhea Ripley. I'm assuming that Charlotte and Io Sky is going to be the other two to for the rest of the, And I think Jacob Fatu is going to find his way into the chamber. I don't know how, but that's my assumption. Or he's going to cause a hoopla after the chamber when Cody wins or whatever they end up doing.
Here's my sponsor. This episode of Bishop's Breakdown is sponsored by W Energy. If you're someone who needs focus without the crash, whether you're creating, like me, gaming, or just grinding through a long day, W makes powdered energy mixes with no sugars, no artificial flavors, and no fillers. I'm big on clarity and consistency, and W's designed to give you steady energy without the jitters like you get from like coffee or other energy drinks. If you want to try it for yourself, use my code Bishop's Breakdown at checkout for a discount of 10%. As always, support the brand that supports the podcast and make sure anything you try fits your routine. Link in the description. All right, let's get back to the show.
Moving on to U of M basketball. Michigan Wolverines basketball spotlight of the week. Number one in the country. Let's hear it for them. Number one in the country. The Michigan Wolverines basketball men's team is number one in the country after Arizona lost twice last week. They're on a 10-game win streak, and they demolished UCLA by 30 on Valentine's Day. But the next two games, well, one of them is going to be a true test of their dominance. After they get through Purdue, they have a top 10 matchup against Duke at a neutral site in D.C. And I feel the winner of that game is going to build on momentum and go deep into the NCAA tournament. So my pick is U of M is going to handle Duke. Maybe not by 30, but I think they're going to come out with the victory. So let's talk the NBA All-Star World versus NBA tournament or whatever. You had the stars, you had the stripes, you had the octagons, whatever. And they had little mini tournaments with like a quarter, and they play round robin, and the winner plays in the championship game, blah, blah, blah. And the stars or stripes, whatever. You know, the Young Bucks, the one with Anthony Edwards and Kay Cunningham, they, I guess youth is the recipe because they destroyed LeBron and Durant and Kawhi Leonard, who the game before to make it to the championship game scored 30 points in one quarter, which is insane. But clearly they put all their effort in that one game and they had nothing left in the tank. So the youth were just chilling for that whole quarter. So they had all the momentum, which is, again, why I think they should do away with this dumb tournament, a world or whatever, and go back to what worked. It worked for me. Like, it was a type of display of athleticism and star power. You had the East versus the West. I mean, you had, if you go back in the day, you had Jordan versus Kobe, because Jordan was on the East, Kobe was on the West. Boom. Matchups that you didn't think you were going to see in a high-octane type of game. And you might have saw, like, during the regular season, but they weren't, you know, it wasn't like this. It wasn't like a whole bunch of stars doing things that they normally don't do. I mean, you can go back in the time machine and see Kobe Bryant doing sky hooks. You can see Shaquille O'Neal doing spin dunks. He don't do that during the game, but the All-Star, he trying to entertain the audience, entertain the fans. And that's what an All-Star game is all about. Entertainment, seeing your favorite superstar interacting with other people's favorite superstars, and possibly never going to happen. I mean, in this time of age with free agencies and whatnot, so it's possible that these players can team up, but maybe not. You're not going to see Steph Curry and LeBron James and Luka all on the same team. Like, it's just, that's what the All-Star is all about. And this tournament was just lukewarm at best. And not to mention, they need to get rid of the slam dunk contest. It is a wrap. It is over, and it's just a waste of everyone's time. I have a better idea. How about this? You take Luka, Steph Curry, horse, trick shots only. That's going to be way more entertaining than anything they did in a slam dunk contest. And it's wild. I know he won the year before, but Dame Lillard hasn't played one game this season. And he got to be in a three-point contest. Like, all he been doing is rehabbing in the gym, shooting threes. So obviously he's going to have the freshest legs out of everybody. And what did he do? Three-peat. Good for you, Dame. Good for you, brother. I picked it, though, but good for you, brother. So in honor of Black History Month, the elephant in the room is going to take a back seat, and we're just going to spotlight Black athletes. So this week, we are spotlighting Allen Iverson, the answer. He was punished for being authentically Black, not for being bad in the league. He had the cornrows, he had the swagger, but people didn't like him because he was too Black for this. That's why they changed the dress code and made you wear suits and ties at press conferences, because of players like Allen Iverson. Why he's perfect? Because the dress code was basically made, like I said, because of him. He's a cultural changer. Not only he had the cornrows, he had the tattoos, he had the hip hop, he had the swag, he had the urbanness, the urbanness. But he was ahead of his time. He made them higher ups in the NBA take notice and change things because they wanted it to be less urban. But newsflash, basketball is more urban in the grand scheme of things than any sport in America. because anybody can pick up a basketball and shoot a hoop. You can make hoops out of anything. When I was a kid, trash cans, hoop, laundry baskets, hoop, something round, piece of paper, some yarn, whatever. And I can make a game out of it. I can make a basketball game out of it. You can't do that with football and baseball. You need more things, more people, but you can play basketball by yourself. You can work on your shots by yourself. It's kind of hard to do any of the other sports by yourself and actually do the sport. So it's urban as F. And AI didn't change the NBA culture, but he exposed who was in charge and why they needed to change and adapt. And now look at it. Shoes, all the people are having the swag, and AI started that. If it wasn't for Allen Iverson, the answer, that's why he's the answer, then the NBA culture would be way different. It would be too stuffy, not exciting enough. And they need to go back to some of those things that they did in the 90s. Like I said, the East versus the West about the All-Star game, because that's the audience they have. And they need to embrace that audience and not hinder the NBA-ness, the urbanness of the sport that I love watching in the 90s growing up with the Jordans and the Karl Malones of the world. Allen Iverson, he's that guy. And I hope one day somebody from big up in the NBA will give him his honors and his due and say, thank you, AI, because without you, the NBA would have been a drag. And who knows? Maybe the ratings would be even more in the tank if it wasn't for Allen Iverson. So let's get to the power rankings in the NBA pre-All-Star break and the MVP watch list. But first, the power ranking. We got a new, yes, I said it, the new number one. The Detroit Pistons. They're playing great ball. Besides that brawl with the Hornets, and they're going to lose two players, Duran and Stewart, for multiple games. Stewart for 7, Duran for 1. But they're looking to continue after this All-Star break. I don't see anything but up for these Detroit Pistons because they're playing as a team. And they're 40-13. 40-13. The OKC Thunder are 42-14, but the win percentage is better in favor of the Pistons. That's why they're number 1, and OKC is number 2. And then we got the San Antonio Spurs at number 3 with 38-16, and it's a tie for number 4 with the Celtics at 35-19, and the Nuggets at 35-20. And the MVP watch list is the same 2 guys because these guys are generational. Nikola Jokic, the Joker, 28.7 points per game, 12.3 rebounds a game, and 10.7 dimes a game. And Luka's no slouch either. He's averaging 32.8 points per game. And those 2 boys are balling. And their teams are benefiting from their athleticism, their unselfish play, and all the above. They will will a team to win, and I can't wait to see those 2 teams, the Nuggets and the Lakers, in the playoffs in a 7-game series, because that's going to be strictly cinema. And like always, that's all we wrote for episode 17 of Bishop's Breakdown. We broke down the latest road to WrestleMania and the All-Star Weekend. So if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give me a like, subscribe, and share the show with all your friends, family, enemies, frenemies, all that stuff. Or give me a reaction in the comments and, tell me if I suck, if I'm good, or whatever. Follow me on YouTube, follow me on TikTok, subscribe, look at the videos, check out the audio podcast on Spotify. And if you want to be part of the conversation, don't forget to comment, and I will read them live on my podcast every single week. And I will respond in the comments and on the broadcast as I see fit. And, maybe your takes will be a topic that I cover, and maybe it'll be an elephant in the room. You never know. Just let me know, because new episodes drop weekly. And if I find time, or if I have something that's, really exciting that I got to get out ASAP, then check out the feed, and it might be a special bonus episode. I do live on TikToks every so often, so check that out. So I'm your host, Bishop, and this is Bishop's Breakdown, episode 17. So until next time, Deuces. Ooses.